Are you thinking about cruising on Azamara? Or maybe you've done 1 or 2 cruises with them and felt like you missed out on something. You're not alone. We just spent 22 days on an Azamara cruise, and there were some things that weren't necessarily in the videos, or some of the information was really outdated. So let's fix that. I'm Leah, Doug's behind the camera today, and we are Go Travel Life. So I'd like to first cover things you need to know before you book an Azamara cruise and things that you need to know after you've booked the cruise but before you board. So let's start there. First of all, Azamara has cruise ships that are from Renaissance. They're called R-class ships. They're all very close to the same, but they are fairly old ships. They're going to be going through a major refurbishment starting in November of 2026. But with that said, a standard room or lower is going to have a very small bathroom. It is the biggest complaint I think I've ever seen from a cruise ship. So make sure you do a little bit of research before you book a standard room or lower. If you are tall, if you have any mobility issues, or you're just claustrophobic, make sure you know that size. We do know a lot of people that are on board currently that just go shower in the spa. There's plenty of shower facilities there, so that's an option for you as well. Otherwise, you need to book a continent suite or above in order to get either a tub or a full decent sized shower. And I know this is important for a lot of people, so I want to make sure that I bring it up. The next thing to think about, and this is after you've booked but before you are boarding, Azamara has indulgence packages that they offer. We're going to pop this up here. Basically, if you are on a 6-night or shorter cruise, you have one option, and that's the column to the left. And what that cost is per suite, not per person, but this is the basket of benefits that you would receive. The second column is for solo travelers. That's for you if you are traveling solo. The next 3 columns are if you are on a 7-day or longer cruise. These are the packages that you can add to your room. Now, I want to be clear, you can do this once you board as well, and I again confirmed that with guest services today while on board. But if you wait until you board, the shore excursions, the specialty dinings, those types of things that people like to pre-book may or may not be available to you. So just consider that. We did pre-book ours a couple months before our cruise so that we could get the shore excursions and things that we wanted. What I'd like to do now is just show you a very quick comparison of why we chose the indulgence package, and you can obviously build this out specifically for you and your cruise and your dollars and what you want to spend, but I thought I would share how we looked at it. So first of all, the items that are included in indulgence are on to the left. $700 in shore excursion credit. I have a column that says, was this already in our fare, as we booked a continent suite? And then I had what was included in our fare. So in our case, we had a $500 OBC promo when we booked. That was just a booking benefit, as well as our $300 Amex Platinum onboard credit. So we already had $800 in onboard credit, but we knew that we were going to want more, as this is a 22-day cruise. We're going to places we've never been in the world, and some of them we felt more confident based upon where we were going to be in port that we wanted to be with ship excursions in some cases. So for us, the cost to do this one alone or to add would have been $700. Unlimited Wi-Fi for 2 devices. The Continent Suite up until April 1st comes with 200 minutes of just standard Starlink Wi-Fi. That's not good enough for us, unfortunately, as we need to do streaming. There's the things we need to do for work. So the unlimited Wi-Fi Plus, which is the best that you can get on board, was going to cost $1,200 for this 22-day cruise. So that was a value to us. Unlimited beverage package for 2. I'm going to spend more time talking about the beverage package when we get to drinks, but to go from the standard beverage package to the ultimate beverage package was going to cost over $1,700, as you can see. In addition, the indulgence package comes with $250 OBC for the spa. What I want to call out here is that I was able to use this particular OBC before we boarded to get additional shore excursion credit, but they told me that if I had not used it and then we boarded, I would have to use it at the spa. Okay, so just clarity on that one. 5 bags of laundry during our voyage. So the Continent Suite comes with 2 bags a week. We were going to be on board for 22 days, and then we're going on a land-based trip, so we knew that we were going to need some more laundry. So this gave us 5 more bags. The price given to us on board for 5 bags of laundry was a package, or $140. Lastly, chef's table or 3-table tour. A continent suite comes with complimentary specialty dining. You can go as many times as you want, as long as you can get a reservation. Otherwise, our call out here would be that the menus do not change. There's one special per night, other than embarkation day, but for us that felt a little repetitive, so we did use that. But the benefit here to us was the chef's table. It was fantastic, by the way, and if you look at one of our vlogs for our trip to South America, you'll see that experience. So all up, the total value that came to us from the indulgence comparison was $4,375. We paid $1,699. That was the flat price per cabin. So our savings, if we would have purchased all these separately, was $2,676. So I just wanted to share that math with you, so you can do the math yourself and see if that package is right for you. Again, you can book it on board if you want. Next up is specialty dining. Azamara, as of December of 2025, now allows you to pre-book specialty dining. This has been kind of a thorn in a lot of people's sides for a long time, because otherwise there's this stress of right after you board, you've got to go get a line for specialty dining and try to get all that organized after you're on board. So they started allowing you to pre-book online. It's 150 days in advance if you have suites or status, and 140 days in advance for everyone else. We had no problem doing this. The only issue I had was they tried to bill us for the chef's table, which I was quickly able to call them and have that fixed once they connected our indulgence package. But a lot of people who boarded for this January cruise were a little frustrated because their reservations may not have all made it over to the ship. So just know that it was new as of December. I would definitely, if you want specific times or tables for 2 or 4 or whatever, be online when it's time to do that, and then double check as soon as you get on board. The other thing Azamara does that's unique is they offer, if you make your final payment 210 days in advance of your cruise, so it's early, they will give you a 5% additional OBC on board minus taxes. That's just fare only. That OBC can be used for dining reservations, for shore excursions, for drink packages, whatever. But the caveat is you need to register for that promo before you make the final payment. So if you have a travel advisor, make sure that you tell them that you want to register for that, then make the payment. Don't assume if you just make it early that they're going to connect the dots. That's not the case, and it's in the fine print that you got to register for it. Okay, next up, the all-important drinks. And this is going to be inclusive of alcohol and not alcohol. First of all, the drink package that actually comes with all fares on Azamara, the standard package, we were actually really impressed. We went up just to talk to the bartender about it, and nobody was in the bar, so he ended up letting us do a tasting. Sudesh is fantastic. There were four whites, a rosé, 4 reds, and a sparkling. The red Cabernet Sauvignon was the most popular. These are private label Azamara wines. We could show you that here. So if these sound good enough to you, you may not need to upgrade the package. Up here on the page now is all of the spirits that are included. Yes, you can get a margarita, you can get a martini. I mean, anything that can be made with these base spirits are included in your regular fare, which is fantastic. Like I said, we were very impressed with that. It's all about brands, though, when you get to the premium and the ultimate levels. So as you can see, for premium, it's really just adding a whole bunch of different spirits and an additional beers that you might want. It's not until you get to the ultimate package where they add some of the higher end spirits, as well as there's a named wine list at the bottom. So take a look at that so you can make a good decision about what you need for the wine package. A couple things to note. It was available to upgrade to these packages throughout our cruise. So if you know that the front half of your cruise is port intensive and you don't want to upgrade till day 7 or whatever, they didn't care, but you then pay for it for the rest of the cruise. People in the room did not have to have the same drink package. We've run into that on other lines where you buy one, everybody in the room's got to have the same package so that there isn't any sharing going on. So that was not here. the all-important where can I get coffee or tea 24/7. Up in the Windows Cafe, there is a wall that has all of the espresso machines, hot waters, teas, such that was available all the time, as well as Mosaic Coffee Shop for specialty coffees, waters, teas. All of that is included as well. Mosaic was open by 7 a.m., was open pretty much throughout the day. The question, can I bring alcohol on board? Yes, you can. They don't seem to care at all as long as you drink it in your room. If you take it out and you want to be served this at a restaurant or whatever, they are going to charge you a corkage fee for that. Hot pot, we were not offered a hot pot here in South America. I know that when certain ships are cruising in Britain, there is a possibility they will be there, so don't count that out. But on our cruise, we wanted hot tea or hot coffee. We had to go get it or have it delivered as part of room service. Lastly, bottled water. So this is one of those lines. They will give you all the bottled water you want. I don't think we had any less than 8 or 9 bottles of water on our counter every day, including Schweppes sparkling water if you want. So you do not need to go on a search or buy water on Azamara. And that is it for drinks. Okay, so let's talk Azamara laundry. First of all, the Azamara ships have an onboard self-service laundry facility, which is fantastic. There's just one room, but it is 6 washers, 6 dryers. They do provide soap because it is sea-safe soap, so that's what you need to use. If you are on a port-intensive journey and you don't want to do the laundry or want to do your own laundry, they do have these bags. They're $45 for one bag, or they will offer you packages. We'll put those up here so you can take a look at what's available. I do want to call out one thing on these package prices. If you go down to the last one that looks at per day rate, so if you just set your laundry in every single day, it's $25 a day. I want to compare that to Holland America's current price here in February 2026. It's about $12 a day. So it's pretty pricey to have your laundry done every day. As you can see from this little video, this is how the laundry comes back. They did a nice job. I only had one item that I had to turn around and send back for pressing, but for the most part, everything looked great when it came back. Turnaround time is about a day, so we would turn it in 9-10 o'clock in the morning. It would be back following afternoon late, so their turnaround time is really good as well. Second, upon embarkation, you should get one of these pressing only services. You can actually fill a bag. So if a bunch of your stuff got wrinkled during travel, you can fill a bag or 2 or 3, and they'll give you a special price on pressing. And they made this available multiple times throughout the cruise, so it's one of those things you can add when you want. And then here is the individual pricing for just sending something to be laundered, pressed, dry cleaned, what have you. So we'll give you that. Lastly, we did not see a way to order anything before we boarded at a discount. So ordering bags of laundry or any of that, it all happened once we boarded. So there's your price for your laundry, so you can make the decision right for you. So next up, let's talk about entertainment and stuff to do, because this is another area where Azamara shines. So when you board, there's a couple things you should probably go do. If you want to sign up for any of the card playing groups, if you want to sign up for the early craft classes, because those have to be signed up prior to going to them. If you are into the fitness center and you want to do Pilates, yoga, or spinning class, unlike other lines where you can kind of sign up for all the classes that you want to at the beginning, Azamara will post the class sign up list 24 hours in advance. So you can only do one class at a time, and you need to sign up the day before. So if they are starting those early, the schedulers are in the fitness center, and you'll want to get signed up because those tend to fill up pretty quickly. If you are going to form a trivia team, you want to make sure you go to one of the first trivia events so you can get your team formulated. I know you trivia pros already know that. One of the things that Azamara does is the Quest Prize Passport. And for many of the games that they play and events that they have, you can earn these stamps that you can then use towards the end of your cruise for Azamara stuff that you can buy. So make sure if you look in the schedule, it'll be a little denoted at the bottom that says this is part of the Quest Prize Passport, which is a lot of fun. Okay, one of the other things that you're going to want to do is pick up or take a picture of this list that's either going to be at the entrance to the Windows Cafe or guest services. But this paper will show you for your cruise not only the port that you're going to be in, the arrival and departure times, But it also gives you some helpful information on the Windows Cafe or the buffet. What is their theme that night? So if it's going to be Italian, Thai, whatever. It will also tell you for your cruise when your Azamazing evening is and when your white night is. And we'll talk about those here in a minute. Lastly, it will also tell you the chef's table focus, whether it's Italian, whether it's signature, whether it's French. This is where you're going to get that information when you get on board. Next up, speakers. Usually there is an immersion specialist or someone who is knowledgeable about where you're going on the cruise. So that a lot of times is your enrichment speaker. We did not have one on our cruise, and our cruise director did talk to everybody about it, that they couldn't find anyone for this particular slot. But we did have two really good enrichment speakers, so pay attention to those on sea days. One person had been in the airline industry for 39 years, so had some great behind the scenes stuff and happenings on airplanes, as well as the other guy was a marketing executive for many years and talked to us about persuasion and influence and Super Bowl ads and some fun stuff. So make sure you pay attention. Those are really well attended on Azamara. So now let's talk about the two signature events that Azamara is known for. And I want to give you some tips for some of these as well. First is the white night. This one is difficult to try to guess when it's going to be. Again, you'll get the little paper and you know when it is once you board your ship, but everybody wears all white. Make sure you don't forget your accessories. Some people who forgot shoes or they left behind some other things, so make sure you get your outfit together. White night starts at 6 o'clock generally. They will look for weather and make sure the weather is planning on being nice. So if there is a night that the ship's going to be in port a little bit later, that's a possibility that it might be then, but otherwise you're just going to have to confirm once you board. You'll want to get down there between 5 and 5:15 if you're looking to get a table for 4 or 6 people that is underneath the awning, and would recommend that because the weather, the wind, we had a little bit of rain pop up out of nowhere and people were umbrellas over the top of their tables if they were sitting in the middle. So again, one of those things you just want to pay attention to. Now, a couple little tips. First of all, they do the grilling on the patio side. So where you would normally have the patio restaurant, that's where they're going to be setting up the grills and getting everything ready for the night. For the first hour or so when they're continuing to grill, that side of the patio gets pretty smoky. We had a person in our group who is super sensitive to that, so just know where that is, and if you've got someone in your group like that, sit on the other side. Second of all, there are 2 lines that form. One is to the left that will go to the buffet and things that have been all the big dishes on the left hand side. But the one on the right was always the shorter line, and a person told me it's always like that. That side to the right is where they have the lobster tails, they have the fish, they have the sushi. So why I go to white night is for the lobster and sushi, just stick to the right, stay to that side. There's no way for them to move that. It's all got to be at that particular side of the counter. So hopefully that's helpful to you. We also had someone have like blingy light up stuff that was really kind of cool at night. So that if that's something that you want to bring. The line dancing classes that happen during the day for like the week prior to white night tend to be focused on line dances or dancing or whatever that will be done at the show. So if you want to practice with a group of people and look like you know what you're doing, make sure you're paying attention to the line dancing classes. And last one that everyone always rushes up to get into line right when it opens. They're not going to run out of food. So for us, it was a lot easier to wait till the initial rush slowed down, and we could get up there and get whatever we wanted. So those are your white night tips. So let's move on to the Azamazing evening. So Azamazing evening is if your cruise is 9 days or more, it should be an onshore event. Not always, but it should be. And if your cruise is less than that, then it's typically something that is done on board. It is very focused on your destination wherever you're at. We're in Brazil, so ours both have been very focused on the Samba, on the Frevo, and Recife. So it'll be a usually wonderful event, well attended. The reason you may want to know when this is, 2 things. One, It usually starts at 6 or 6:30, so you'll want to make sure you plan accordingly with your shore excursions. We had some folks that didn't do that, and their shore excursion ended dropping them off at the theater. They hadn't had dinner, they hadn't had time to shower because things were running late in traffic. So just save yourself a little bit of heartache and try to get that night accordingly, right? I'm going to post a link in the description for the 2026 Ozamazing Evenings. If it is past this time, then you'll need to get the newer list. It's a PDF that is uploaded onto one of their internal portals that the travel agents can share. But this way you at least be able to look up when your night is, whether it's on the ship or at shore, and be able to plan accordingly. So those are the highlights for entertainment and things to do on board. Okay, so let's talk Azamara food, and there is a lot of it, which brings me to room service. So they have free room service, which is really nice because a lot of lines are going away from that. Very extensive menu that you can put out the night before and order your breakfast. As well, I'm going to show you this book because this is in your room, but you have room service menu in this book, okay? 24/7, there was something for every time of the day. So if you're hungry, that is available in your room. None of that was online or anything. So regular dining. So the buffet is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But what you need to know is the dinner is themed. So this handy dandy paper I told you to pick up or take a picture of when you boarded, this shows you the theme for the buffet that night. So last night was Japanese. We had yakitori, we had some pork tonkatsu, we had sushi, we had all kinds of different salads and rice noodles and stuff. So know that that becomes a themed dinner at night. If none of that looks good, and you've looked at the main dining room and you decided none of that looks good, don't forget that the patio is open for dinner from 6:30 to 8:30. That was never very busy this cruise because I think people forget about it. They have a set menu and specialty every now and then, so check that out. That might be something you're interested in if you don't necessarily like the theme that night and you don't want the formality of the main dining room. Main dining room menus will be posted on your TV, or they're posted for dinner and they're posted outside of the main dining room entrance. So you'll be able to see them there. On sea days, the main dining room menu was just posted at the entrance. I will comment that we literally saw 24 different versions of menus so far. So Azamara does a brilliant job of mixing things up a little bit. As well, there is a specialty that you'll find right here in your insider for wherever you are located in the world. We're in Brazil, so there was a Brazil breakfast tidbit, lunch tidbit, and usually some type of meal each night that focuses on that special area, and those were very good. One other comment, people have asked, hey, can I make reservations in the main dining room? And the answer is no. But if you show up at the same time every night, we got pretty attached to a particular couple of servers, and we were able to be assigned to that server just by walking and saying, hey, can we be in so-and-so's section? So you do have the ability to do that, particularly if you're consistent with the time that you get there, which we typically are. So that is main dining. So specialty dining, there's only 2 restaurants on this ship. One is Aquilina, which is seafood Italian, and the other one is Prime Sea. Those reservations at the moment cost $49.95 for a single reservation, but you can also pre-buy 2 table tours, 3 table tours. There was all sorts of little packages and things out there that you could take a look at. Also, if you're going to look at one of the Experience More packages, a lot of times there's some table tours in there as well, so just make sure you know what you're up for. You do have to have reservations, however, so I would make sure that if your heart's set on those specialty dining and you've purchased the reservations, I would make sure that you get online when it opens up and try to get your reservations done before you board. Otherwise, you're going to go to the queue when you get on board and they'll get you all squared away there. But you risk the ability of the early or late times or whatever it is that you're looking for in tables for 2 being available. Snacks. So there's a lot of snacks on Azamara. First of all, Mosaic opening at 7, they will have little breakfast bites. There was quiche and the flavor changed pretty regularly. There's little yogurt and fruit, there's muffins, pastries, cookies, all kinds of stuff in the morning. And then in the afternoon, they switched to tea type finger sandwiches. There still were cookies and sweets and all that type of stuff, but that went on in the afternoon. A unique thing about Mosaic is they're open from 7 in the morning until 11 at night. There are a couple windows of time where they close to kind of reswizzle everything, but for the most part, you can get coffee and snacks pretty much any time of the day. So a lot of that. It's also good to know that the patio has soft serve ice cream with plenty of topping options available. Tea. So tea service is every day from 2:30 to 4:30 in the living room upstairs. It is not a cart-based tea, but it is set up in a little buffet window. They rotated all the offerings every day. You can get your hot boiling pot of tea, pick your tea. They'll get it all set up for you. So that was nice. And that was whether we were in port or at sea. So that's available every day. Once that's all cleared, then they set up tapas, and that starts at 5 and goes until 8. So if you get back from port day or you've just peckish before they've set up the buffet or the main dining room, they had like kebabs, they had bruschettas, they had little veggie creations, tartlet things. So there's savory and sweet that are part of that tapas as well. So that's available too. And then one last note, you can request peanuts in the den if you want with your drinks. So those are my snack notes. Special food events. So the first one is high tea. They call it elegant high tea. They're not offered all the time. They're only offered on particular sea days, and you're going to have to watch the insider the night before they're going to have it. It will be listed in here as either a special event or over here, and it's at 3 p.m. There is a dress code, so just make sure if that's something you want to do, you bring appropriate attire for a high tea. Brunch has been on sea days as well, although they've told us that when they have super port intensive schedules, it'll be, and you've got one where you're arriving late, that sometimes they'll squeeze it in there. That's from 10 to 12:30. We have some video. It's fantastic selection of breakfast, lunch items, tons of fruits and shrimp and dessert goodies. So you're all set there if that you enjoy a good brunch. The officers barbecue is something else you might want to watch for. This was done out on the pool deck. I made sure it was a beautiful sunny day, sea day, and the officers came out and made barbecue ribs, hot dogs, burgers. We had mac and cheese, we had baked beans and coleslaw and tons of desserts. It was a fun time and something that they do unique on Azamara for the customers. And then last, we've already talked about White Night. All I'm going to say is that this is the buffet for the dinner, where you've got lobster and sushi and all kinds of cooked meats and everything. Some people have mentioned that they don't like the big crowds and they don't like to be part of that. So just know the Azamara accommodates for that, there's a specialty restaurant or one of the other restaurants is open as well if you don't want to participate in that. So food everywhere all the time is Azamara. So this section is going to be for those of you who are either booked into a continent suite or you're thinking about booking a continent suite. If that is not you, go ahead and go right on to my last chapter on miscellaneous, because there's some good stuff there. So for this one, there were a couple of things when we boarded that were good surprises. So I just want to share with you, it felt like there were some things missing on the description of the room originally, that you would have seen, something like this when you booked, that told you like what all the benefits were. And there were a couple of things that we really liked. So first of all, it does tell you can have specialty dining as often as you want, but you need to make sure that you make reservations. And the advanced system for suites is 150 days in advance as of December 2025. They may change that at some point, but right now that's what it is. Make sure that you make those reservations. We did see a lot of people eating every night in those restaurants, which is a great benefit, especially if you want to have a quieter dining room, a smaller dining room, a more intimate experience. There were a lot of people who really preferred that. You just got to get your reservations made. Secondly, one that was not on room benefits that was a nice surprise was that you can have the main dining room meals delivered to your room via room service, which is really nice. That's a nice benefit. Also, when we had tenders, these would appear in our room. So priority Tinder service, because that wasn't listed anywhere either. So when we didn't have a ship excursion and we just wanted to go into port that was tender, it was really nice to have these, because then we could just wander right off the ship. The tea service that they say in-suite afternoon tea service, they actually roll a cart to your door. So that was kind of fun. It was somewhere between 3 and 3:30 they would get down the hallway. And so that one is in there, but it was just the way it was delivered was really kind of fun. They also tell you that you have Aquilina access for breakfast, but I want to share it's the same hours every day, so 8 to 9:30. They do not flex at all when there was a port day. So one of the challenges we had with enjoying that benefit, because it's beautiful up there, is that most of our excursions met at 8, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45. So there would have been no way for us to have, the kind of time that it took to do a sit-down breakfast up there. So that's just something to consider. If that is really important to you, you might want to look at the afternoon excursions and let the mornings be a little more restful for you. Another one that was not on the list that they do is hors d'oeuvres every afternoon. Boy, there's food everywhere on the ship, by the way. But you can specify whether you want sweet or savory. We had a pretty regular delivery of like cheese and crackers and some fruit, and then there were always some little creative bruschetta kinds of things, but you can tell them whatever you want, and it's usually around 4:30, 5 o'clock. They'll bring those to you if you want. And a really nice one, this is one of our favorites, on the Oz Amazing evenings, you got priority bus tickets when it was on shore. So basically they call you by floor, but if you have a suite, you're going to be assigned to one of the first couple buses, which is really nice, because then you can get over there. They had drinks out front, and then you had the ability to go in and get a better seat. And then when they release you back, your buses are first to go back, so you can get back on board. But I just thought these were helpful enough if you're considering booking one of these rooms, that these are nice to knows. Okay, last but not least, this is our extras section. So I want to talk about a couple things. First of all, Azamara must have an amazing printer, but this book will be in your room when you get on board. It's called The Voyager, and it is all about your journey. And so it's specific to you. Like, we booked the 22-day one. There are others that are 14 and 8 days. This has basically everything you wanted to know about your cruise. The city overviews. This chart here on the front, if you can decipher it, actually does tell you when your white nights are for both cruises. It's a little harder to read. You've got to find these little symbols. So the one that you can pick up in by the Windows Cafe, that one's a little bit better. You'll go through your schedule. But one of the other things you can see is all of the officers, talent that's on board, and then in the back is all of the pricing for the upgrades, like laundry and pressing and all that type of thing for your cruise. That's going to be back in this book. Fabulous thing, hang on to that. The other one is the shore excursion guides. This covers all shore excursions, not just yours. And shore excursion tickets will be delivered to your room. They are, unlike other cruise lines, they're actually in paper, and you have to have these. The tour guides do take their little stub, so don't forget them. But one of the things it allowed us to do is, just as a reminder, take a look at what we signed up for. It'll tell you, do you need to bring a snack? Do you need bug wipes? Yes, there were places in Brazil you definitely needed bug wipes, like the Amazon, or you were going to get eaten alive. But you could also see what other things were happening in the port, what other offerings. So there were, if you wanted to change, if you changed your mind, like we changed our mind on a 5-hour bus ride, we were like, that's a little bit long, we're going to go do something else. So just take the time to take a look at that. I next want to talk about the internet. So Azamara advertises, they have Starlink, and a lot of cruise lines do this now. But one of the things that we're seeing kind of thematically is that they undersubscribe their subscription, or undersize their subscription to Starlink. So you get times when it's just super saturated. We're going to put some speed tests up here for you geeks that need to look at this, but I will tell you, yes, there are people on vacation that don't need the internet at all, but there are other people on board, like we've got some doctorate students on board that actually have to get to something. We have stuff that we have to do requiring uploading and all of that, correcting things or whatever. So it was a little bit of a challenge. And we do have Wi-Fi Plus, which Wi-Fi Plus is the absolute best you can buy. There isn't anything above that. We did sit down and meet with IT because we are geeks, and we wanted to understand, like, why are we having these troubles? It was with some very specific apps, and they were attempting to make some adjustments to help us out, and in some cases it worked, in some cases it didn't. So if you don't have to do much with the internet, you're good, it's fine. But if you do, it might be worth an extra look at having, you know, something like a Gig Sky available as a backup if you need. Okay, so next up, I want to talk about these beautiful port guides. We did not know that these were available until about halfway through the cruise. If you go down to guest services, like I said, they've got an amazing printer on board, don't they? These will give you, they're big, but it's really easy to see like where you might want to go in town, where are all the spots that they recommend. And then this little paper here for each city is like worth its weight in gold. Not only does it tell you how to get around, all the things that you might want to see, but one of my favorite little things was, what is this place known for as far as food? It might be just a little small bite. It might be, you know, that they cook the shrimp a certain way or whatever. But it was really, I just thought these were really helpful. They're available the morning of your port day. Guest services, we just picked ours up on the way out, and it was something that we reviewed on the bus when we were going to excursion, so we knew what we wanted to do when we got back. Okay. USBs under your lights. I know a lot of videos mention this, but I still heard people complaining that they didn't have a charger by the bed. You do. There is a USB port. It's a slow USB port, but there is one under the lights. Not a plug, it's a USB. So as long as you've got the ability to charge whatever device with your USB, you're good to go. Lastly, one last comment I want to make, because this kind of took us off guard. Our cruise was booked as 22 days. A couple months after that, they broke it into two pieces. So they did a 2-week segment and they did an 8-day segment. What happens at the end of that 14 days is there's people going to disembark, people going to embark. The staff does a rotation, and they call it, I believe he said, fresh perspectives. So your favorite bartender might now be a barista, or your restaurant staff has gotten moved from the main dining room to Windows Cafe. I mean, all of a sudden people were all over the place. And unfortunately, some of them were assigned to crew areas where we're probably not going to see them again. So I tell you this, that if you are the kind of person that likes to recognize staff and you want to give them a tip or a thank you card or whatever, make sure you kind of know when those segments are and where they might be going so that you can find them and take care of them in the end. And that's it for the extras. Okay, so I know that this is a ton of information coming at you rapid fire. Sorry about that. There's a lot here and every line has their gotchas. I did have a person ask on one of our other tips and tricks if I could put together a transcript. So I will do that, and that will be in the description of this video. It's on our Google Share. It'll be a document you can download. If it's easier for you to consume all this information that way, I want to be as helpful as possible. Second, if I know that Azamara has a following. They have incredibly loyal people that cruise this line, and I've met so many of them. They're wonderful. They've been hugely helpful to me as well. If I have missed anything, my ask to you is please do everyone else a solid and put it in the comment what I missed. We would love to have this be as thorough as possible so anybody considering or cruising on Azamara can be as prepared to have a great vacation as possible. Last thing, if any of this is helping you, these take a ton of time to put together. We're having great fun doing it, and we're getting to meet lots of people that we probably wouldn't have otherwise met. So please consider subscribing and also turning on notifications. We're a super small channel, so you're not going to see our stuff unless you actually ask to be notified. We try to only post on Wednesdays and Saturdays, so we're not going to be annoying you throughout the week. But thank you very much. We've had an amazing time on this Azamara trip, and thank you for watching.